lost Brady Manick, which was a big loss, but Leaky Black came back. Armando Bacot came back. Caleb Love came back. RJ Davis came back. They added Pete Nance. All of a sudden, they have a team that looks pretty dang good, at least on paper, a lot better than it did about December of last season. What do you make of these Tar Heels?
I mean, it's crazy to me still because I still have a hard time grasping what they did from March 5th on and saying to myself, that's going to be them. But I do think they're going to be close to that. I think they're going to be a lot closer to that than pre-March 5th when they were frankly a fringe tournament team. Pete Nance is the key. You know, as Hubert told me, we were so lucky to get Pete Nance. I love the portal. That's what he said to me. Yeah. Roy Williams hated the portal. Hubert's loving it because, again, he got a guy that honestly could get them a national title. I think without Pete Nance, they're not in the equation for a national title. That may sound crazy, but that's how important Brady Manick and a skilled big who could operate and space the floor. He could rebound. Now, I don't know if Nance is going to pick up where he left off last year and shoot, 43% from three, but he doesn't have to. He's just got to shoot like 36, 38 from three. There's enough guys around him that he's going to get uncontested shots. And I love Nance because he's a team dude who just wants to win after being at Northwestern for the last few years. So I think he's exactly what the doctor ordered and why, to me, Carolina is the favorite to win the national title.
Yeah, I think that's so important because he is, in a vacuum, RC, an NBA player, right? You get these 6'7", 6'8", 6'9" guys that are as strong as he is, that can switch the way that he can, that shoot the way that he can. And he's exactly that kind of role piece that all these NBA teams are looking for. But he came back to college, and like Goodman said, he's a guy that's going to buy into a team concept because he's never won before. And I think that is so important for this group specifically for a lot of reasons, not the least of which is, guys like Caleb Love. I think it's fair to say guys like Armando Bacot. For a while last season, it seemed like they were playing more for draft stock, more for accolades at the end of the year than they were for, to go cliche, the team across the front of the jersey. So what do you see coming from this backcourt this year, I guess, is the long-winded way to ask this question.
Well, I'll say, before I even answer that, I'll say the biggest thing we're underestimating about Pete Nance, in addition to this team, is what he's going to add defensively. Because that was the game plan coming into playing them last year, was to attack Brady Manick. That was the one you attacked. You put him in ball screens or you just went right at him. You're not going to make a living doing that. So now he offers them that much versatility. I'm a big RJ Davis fan. Mm-hmm. I saw the Bob Cousy list come out today, and for me to see
they screwed up.
Not on it, they screwed that up. Like there's no way. There's no way. There's 20 other point guards in the.
No, I think they screwed up the position.
Okay.
I think they should have. They're going to have RJ at the two guard, and they had Love at the point. They screwed it up.
His involvement throughout the year, I thought, was the reason they went to the national championship game. I mean, we already know Armando was good all year long. He had his moments, but he was pretty consistent rebound. And all the other guys, Love was hit or miss, which he was all the way up to the end. Yeah. His consistency was the reason, his involvement as a point guard. I told him at ACC Media Day, I'm a huge fan of his, and I think they'll go as far as he leads them. I think he's as good a point guard as there is in the country. So I'm a huge fan. We know how explosive Love is. If he develops a level of consistency and with his shot selection, then, this team it'll distance himself from everyone else.
Those two in combination, I think, are exactly what you want out of a backcourt, right? Like you got RJ Davis, who's a talented dude who can go get 25 if he needs to, but also can be the guy that is fine setting the table, that is fine making sure that Armando gets the ball in his spots. Whereas Caleb Love, there are going to be games where you just need someone to go out and get you 30. And Caleb Love is that guy that can go out and get you 30. Now, he might also go 2 for 17 the next 3 nights, but you're not going to need him. You know what I mean? Like when you need him to do what he did against, say, Duke in the Final Four in the second half, he's capable of doing that. And I don't know how many players at their best are as dangerous as Caleb Love is. Goodman, I'm going to ask you this. I think what we saw throughout last season was that they pay attention, right? They see the clippings, they see the headlines, they see the tweets. They know what the conversation.
No. Hey, they heard us. We were like 5 feet away from them.
Yes, they know what the conversation is about North Carolina. And when people like us are on the floor of the Mohegan Sun Arena saying that, oh, these guys are soft, they're selfish, they don't play together while they're walking by, which, by the way, we probably shouldn't have done that. They're also probably going to hear preseason number one. Us saying Caleb Love is so dangerous. RJ Davis should be the koozie, whatever. Armando Bacot, preseason national player of the year, all this stuff. So how do you, as Hubert Davis, prevent that from getting in? How do you stop these guys from getting a big head?
So I'm going to throw it to RC because obviously I've never played it at that level. So I think he's much more adept at answering that than me. But I will say Hubert Davis told me that is going to be maybe his most difficult task this year is, the noise last year that ended up motivating them. How do they use it to their advantage this year instead of it hurting them and these guys getting a little too full of themselves going into the year?
When I went to their practices this year, he reminded those guys, he's like, hey, we're one rebound away from winning a national championship. He's like, he told all those guys, you guys have done nothing. He was like, we hang banners here. And he was like, had you got a rebound, you guys would be a part of history here at Carolina, which is why you came. For them, it's simple. I think it was harder a year ago because they were getting their ass kicked. Let's just call it what it was. It was blowouts. It was 20-point blowouts. And then all of a sudden they turned it around. Now there's a confidence about them that we know we can do it, but they didn't finish the job. So I think that the belief that they could do it, I think they've proven to themselves they can do it. Now there's an expectation among themselves, whereas last year there was doubt. There were doubts like, are we this good? Are we this bad? Where do we stand? Where do we rank in all this? I think they've answered all that. So answering the bell every day, being the team that's being hunted, but it's Carolina. So every game outside of Duke, they're hunted, they're chased. So it's always been that way. So this year will be no different. I think it's harder last year. I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be the team we expect them to be.
I like too. They've got a little bit more depth, Rob. And Hubert said he's not going to ride the starters as much as he did last year, which I don't know if it wore him down, but it certainly looked that way with the injuries, with guys getting tired in the Final Four. I love Seth Trimble. I think Seth Trimble can make sure that RJ Davis is not playing more than 32 minutes a game.
Yeah. I don't think that they were tired. I think it was just Armando Bacot sprained his ankle. And look, I'm never, ever going to question that dude's toughness again. We've said this before. He is a warrior. Sure, I want that guy in my corner anytime I'm going into a game, going into a fight, going into whatever. Like get that guy on my roster. And Seth Trimble, you're right. Stud. Puff Johnson, got to respect him too. He threw up right in front of me. like 10 feet in front of me on the court. Which I don't know if I need to see that again or relive that moment. All right. The last interesting, I don't want to say the last interesting, but the third